What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 20. Or welcome to episode 20. There's no back.
Yeah, we're not in the middle of it.
It's the first time we've had an episode 20, so it's just welcome.
First and last.
All right, guys. So we got some mail from Switzerland.
Mail time.
Lewis, you want to open that up?
I can't read. I'll open it.
You want to read that?
Hey, fire starters. You didn't capitalize hey, so no, I'm just kidding. I'm not Aiden. Sorry. To start off, you're all doing an awesome job on the podcast. I truly believe you guys started something very special, and it's been a blessing to be able to listen to the episodes. I'm so grateful that God has placed this in my life. But to introduce myself a little, I'm Aaron. Hi, Aaron. I'm 16.
What's up?
What's up, Aaron?
All right, we're probably going to speed all that up, so it's funny, but thank you so much for the letter. It means a lot to us. If anyone else wants to send anything, our address to the church is below, and we'll get it, so
And
don't be afraid to do that.
much appreciated.
You first letter, so.
Don't send us
Sweet.
bombs.
Okay, Lewis.
Or send
I
us
agree.
bombs just for fun.
Spice it up a bit. You know.
Keep us on our toes.
All right, so before we dive into forgiveness, we're going to, I don't really have anything, but I think you guys had some pretty interesting stuff happen last night.
Pretty interesting night.
Yesterday, it was 11 p.m. and I was with Lewis, and we were just walking a dog. I'm a dog sitter on the side, and we were just walking this dog because I'm overnighting at this house. And we walk down the road, and then we just hear like a really loud car alarm, just like someone just like holding on their horn. It lasted for at least 5 seconds.
Thanks, Lewis.
Exactly how Lewis made it sound. That's perfect representation. And then that just happened, and we were like, yo, what was that? It was just probably, we thought it was just probably some drunk dude or something, like walking across the street and someone just honking at them. And then like we hear like a scream, and it sounds like someone is getting killed. And we were like, damn, maybe we should like turn around and check.
Like they were yelling help.
No, they did that after. We just heard a scream first.
Yeah.
And then we turned around, and at the end of the street, we just hear some like lady just yell, like screaming for help. Someone's just like, help me, help me, help me. And me and Lewis, we were like, yo. And so
They
we
should have
just
timed my 40 right there.
yeah.
That was,
I don't know if
booking
we were
the dog?
running.
yeah, with the dog. Like the dog
No.
was probably being dragged or something like that.
Riley was vibing, bro. He was like, meh. he put his wheels on too. Anyway, we get there.
His wheels?
That's just what
Terminology for speed.
I
Lewis.
thought you guys, like, the dog had, like, disabilities.
It's like a crippled dog.
That's
dude.
Two
Like
legs
dogs
on.
that have like the back of their legs on like a
It's like, hey, bro, we got to go fast now. Just attach his wheels. No, and then we get there, and this lady, like, the first thing I see is this dude and then this lady. And this lady, she looks rough, bro.
Her
Like,
nose is
her
broken.
nose is, like,
bleeding.
smashed into her face. She has blood all over her face. Her mascara's running, and she's, like, screaming for help. Her hair's a mess. And she doesn't have shoes on. She's just barefoot out, and it's, like, freezing outside. And then there's this dude, a short little guy. He's built pretty built pretty powerfully, though.
He's probably
So,
like 5. He's probably like 5'5",
like 5'4", like, you know, like Matthew's height.
but like
And then-
170 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, this dude was beefy.
Yeah, he was a pretty beefy dude. And the first thing he goes, he's like, guys,
Dude, it's
this
not
is
what it
not
looks
what
like."
it looks like. I was like, bro,
Kind of does.
and she's just yelling. She's like, get away from me. Don't touch me. Like, and she's like, this guy's a psychopath. He punched me in the face. He threw my phone out of the window. Like, and me and Lewis, we were like, we don't know what to do. She's like, please just call my brother. Call my brother. So Lewis is like trying to call like his like,
Yeah, I
what
was
does
on
the
the
lady
phone.
look like? Is she, like, was it, like, were they on a date, or, like,
Oh, I think
No,
it
it
was-
was it was her ex-boyfriend.
they were on like some sort of
Yeah.
like counseling trip or something.
Yeah.
oh, dang.
Which
something like
unfortunately,
that.
I think it went pretty badly.
Bad.
for
That
them.
dude's in jail.
No, and then yeah, so Lewis is like trying to call this like girl's sister, like she's trying to remember his
her
number.
brother.
So why
her
are you guys
brother,
calling your brother?
Because
I don't know.
That's all she was telling me. She was like, just call my brother.
And the guy was like, please, don't call the cops. I was like, bro, give me one good reason not to call the cops. He was like, I know exactly what's gonna happen. I was like, all right, bro. And so there was other people. They called the cops. I was just trying to like keep these people away from each other. Like they were just like yelling at each other's faces. I was like, I was like a little median dude. Felt pretty cool, you know. No, I'm just kidding. And then and we got there and they hit Lewis's car.
Yeah, she was like, so like I parked in the parking lot in front of the house, and then she was like, yeah, I think we hit this car. And like I look over and I see the car, it's like right next to mine. And I was like, are you kidding me? And the guy's like, I need to go grab my stuff from the car. And I was like, all right, just like come with me. Like we'll go grab the stuff. And we got to the car and I saw that this dude had just like hit my car.
Well, so what they did is they pulled into the parking lot, and the girl trying to get away from this dude opens the door, and he doesn't want her to leave, so he throws it in reverse, and he just backs up, and he wedges the door of
Like
of their
my
car,
car.
this Subaru, and he wedges it, and he like breaks it backwards against Lewis's car. So there's just like
So it's
this
just
huge
pushing against my car.
scratch, and like the car door won't close anymore, and like there's just a like it's making the beeping sound of when you leave the car on and the doors open, and then like an ambulance shows up, 2 cop cars and stuff, and this guy gives us his business card and stuff. So we still have to write that like
we do have to write him
testimony
an
thing.
email, a witness email.
I'll
But
just send him the podcast.
Yeah, just send him the link to this. But no, it was, I think
God had us at the right place at the right time,
because if we weren't there, I felt like it could have gone a lot worse for that poor lady.
Yeah.
So that's our God moment.
That's why he got
pretty much.
arrested.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
but my
guy's
car's
a piece.
broken, but
It's not
That's
that bad.
okay.
It's just a
It's all
scratch,
good.
but you'll get some insurance money, some reparations.
Hopefully.
No, but this guy is a really bad dude. We overheard the cops talking about them. Like they literally put him in,
4
like cuffs
domestic
immediately.
abuse charges.
So, yeah.
Previous to that,
That he never showed up to any of them.
none of the court cases.
So yeah, this guy was not a great dude, and I think that's probably one of the last times that he'll be able to do that.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
now he's probably going to be behind bars.
Well, you know, that kind of ties
Wow.
into forgiveness almost in a way, because like even people like that can be forgiven at some point. Like there's a story of the prodigal son. You guys probably all know that, and if you don't, go read it. I think it's in Luke
I'll forgive him at
15.
some point. As soon as I get some money. Then I'll forgive him.
But yeah, Luke 15, 11 through 32 is the parable son story. We're not going to read that today, but prodigal, yeah. All right, so the first story we're going to read today on forgiveness is the unmerciful servant. So this is Matthew 18, 21, 35. Does anyone else want to read it, or should I read it?
Go ahead.
No thanks.
Okay. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? And Jesus replies, up to 7 times. Or he asks, like, up to 7 times. And then Jesus answers, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is
Doesn't
like...
he say 70 times 7?
Yeah, that's... I feel like in different versions it says 7 times 70, and some it says 7 times 7.
Well, it's just
I think the
unlimited.
point he's trying to get at
Yeah,
is
It's just
there's-
unlimited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there's
you
no
just-
end to forgiveness.
just forgive.
Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. As he began the settlement, a man who owed him 10,000 bags of gold was brought to him. So I'm just actually going to tell the story. It'll be easier than reading it. But pretty much, there's
Actually,
this...
maybe before you go into that, I
Yeah.
think in those times, forgiveness wasn't a common thing at all. If you if you stole something,
Yeah, it was like an eye for an eye.
Yeah, it was like an eye for an eye. It was like really rough. And when Peter, he asks Jesus, like, how often do I forgive people? Like 7 times. He thinks, like, when he's saying that, he thinks like he's a big man. Like
That's a lot.
I'm about to forgive this dude 7 times. And God's like, nah. So he just got humbled a bit. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so there's this. So the story, this parable. I don't know if it's a parable. I don't think it's a true story he's telling, but he's just, because Jesus speaks a lot in parables and examples. But there's this king, and there's this man who owes him 10,000 bags of gold, which is probably like billions of dollars worth of money that he owes him.
My first question is how do you get in that much debt, bro? Like, what did you buy?
Seriously.
Anyways, so this guy has this huge debt. He goes to the king. He doesn't have it, and the king's like, dude, you're all good. It's all paid off. Your debts are forgiven. And so it's obviously like a huge thing. He's forgiven billions of dollars.
Because he would have had to sell like literally everything, like his wife, children,
Yeah,
house,
the king's
everything.
like, you owe me this much money. Like, you'd have to sell your wife, your kids, all your belongings, and it wouldn't even come close to what you owe me. But anyways, it's all forgiven. This dude walks out of the courtroom, I don't know, whatever, the king's castle, I'm kind of imagining it.
The throne room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He walks down. He's probably like kind of in town again, and there's this dude that owes him money. I think it says
I think it's just
100
gold, 100
silver
silver
coins.
coins.
So like a lot less, probably like maybe
a day's
wage, a
wages.
week's wages of money. And he's like, dude, you owe me money. Where's my money at? And the dude's like, dude, so sorry I don't have it. I'll get it to you. And like, does he beat him up? I don't,
He gets really physical
just-
with him, like at least verbally.
yeah.
And then the other servants
He
kind
gets
of.
physical with him verbally.
Hey, bro, he beat him up with his words. And then I think
mental with him.
I think the other servants kind of tattletaled him.
Yeah, no,
on
there's
the
other
thing.
servants watching him. They know like he's just been forgiven this huge amount of debt, and they're like, yo, this dude owes you almost nothing. You're just getting this triggered, and you've just like been forgiven like pretty much this infinite amount of money. And so they go tell the king, and I'll just read the last part here. Then the master called the wicked servant and the king. You wicked servant, he said, I canceled all your debt of yours because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant, just as I had on you? In anger, his master handed him over to the jailers to be tortured until he should pay back all he owed. This is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brother or sister from your heart. So, like, at the end of that, it just has that little thing, and
intense.
it just makes the whole thing,
Yeah,
like,
forgive-
applied to us and really makes you think about that whole story a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
harder,
could
deeper.
one say, like, for example, if I owed Luke money for, like, a photo shoot or video shoot or something, because that's, like, a realistic situation.
I think maybe Lewis should go with this analogy.
If some particular person owed Luke money and then, like, wasn't able, and then, like, literally
Can I just tell?
became homeless.
Hold on.
No.
No,
What
we're not
if
even talking about that.
What if someone?
Yeah, no, I want to talk about that.
What if someone owed you money for like a photo or video shoot, but then they like literally became homeless?
Mm-hmm.
Could you be able to forgive them, and would you?
Yeah.
Well,
Nah,
I
bro,
think-
give me your mattress. This
I
is
think-
homeless, dude.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because
It actually happened.
Luke, yeah, 'cause it actually happened. Like Luke filmed this video for my football
And
team.
Jonah and Aiden actually
and
helped
Jonah
out.
and Aiden, they all helped out, but it was so good. But and before we made it, like the team made an agreement that each person, 30 people, would pitch in $20,
Uh-huh.
and 30 times 20 is $600, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so that was like the original plan. But then when the video came out and like people didn't pay me before that because they wanted to see the video,
Yeah.
like some people got mad that they weren't in it as much as they wanted to be, and then so not everyone paid me. But then like I literally just paid Luke today, and he made the video for me like 2 weeks ago, and then
Oh, bro, you're on time. Most people like pay me like months after they owe me the money. It's so
okay. Well,
annoying.
good, but I couldn't get enough money. I could not get $600 like from any of the team members, and but Luke was forgiving and gracious, and he did not make me pay $600 because then
How much did you end up paying?
$240.
Hey, Lewis, I'm gonna need that insurance money you're getting.
Yeah, you'll have to pay it over time. You just owe him money.
Yeah, you're in debt.
Yeah, but that's just,
You're forgiven, bro. There's no debts.
thanks,
That
bro.
was a dope video.
It was
Yeah,
fun
it
to
was cool.
make.
Yeah.
At least for me to film. I was just running around with a gimbal.
Was it worth payment to be there and make?
I literally hit
Jonah got
record.
like half the money.
I literally just stood there and hit record and
Yeah,
followed
Aiden got
Jonah.
nothing. So.
That's okay. He didn't need any.
No, I didn't know.
Didn't need
It's
to.
fine.
So yeah, obviously forgiveness is super important. I think I just want to kind of dive in deeper on forgiveness and like what it is and like all the different levels of it. So there's kind of like 3 steps here that I have written down. And so, just disclaimer, all this is kind of copied off a sermon that one of our youth pastors gave, well, like a few days ago. And I was like, that'd be fire to talk about.
Shout out Matthew from Basalt.
Yeah, if you're listening.
Not our beloved Matthew, but maybe a bit more
wiser.
knowledgeable one, and he looks
He's probably taller,
very,
too.
very similar to Aquaman.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Jason Momoa.
You look
too.
like Aquaman.
He
Yeah,
looks exactly
like
like Aquaman.
Really?
Yeah. Anyways,
That's sick.
so the first step is you have to accept God's forgiveness for you, right? Because if you don't accept that, then first of all, like that's the whole point of becoming a Christian is you accept God's forgiveness for you.
Stretching.
Sorry.
So that's the first thing, which, I mean, if you're a Christian, you've done that. Accept God's forgiveness for you. And then second thing is you got to offer forgiveness to others without limit. So like we read in that story, like 7 times 70, pretty much unlimited times.
Now, that does not mean that you will let someone hurt you over and over and over again. That's not what that implies. If you see that someone is like going to hurt you over and over again, you take the hurt that they've already given you, you forgive that, and then you can cut that person loose.
And you also want to make sure you tell the person that you're hurt. Like, because sometimes people don't realize that. And like, what are you forgiving me for? I didn't do anything wrong. But you got to make sure people know, like, you actually hurt them so they can stop. They can ask for forgiveness and stuff like that. But I think, like, the main thing when you know you've forgiven someone is, like, you pray for them so that they improve, and you don't speak badly. You don't wish harm on them. Yeah. That's, like, the ultimate, like, I don't have, like, any resentment or, like, hate for them anymore. I love them, and I want them to grow better, and I'm praying for them.
And it can be so hard depending on, like, the people. Like, if they hurt you and you didn't do anything to them, and then out of the blue they're like, hey, yo, by the way, I forgive you for what you did. You're like, what? I didn't do anything.
Like yesterday, I forgive him, but, you know, still kind of mad.
I know.
It's hard. Like, it's hard because, like...
Yeah, it was such a dumb thing he did.
Yeah.
And, like, so, like...
But I mean, like, obviously I still forgive him, but it's, like, the point is it's hard to forgive those things that happen like that. You just have to...
And
let justice be served.
The real point where you forgive him or forgive anyone would be when you say it to their face, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we don't use the word "I forgive you" like enough anymore.
I agree.
Like, I know Aiden says it like as a joke a lot, but it's not even a joke, but like people will say sorry and you're, oh, it's all good. Yeah. I'm ripping that off Matthew as well, but we say it's all good, it's fine, it's like it's whatever. But the words "I forgive you" really have power.
I really make sure to thank the people who don't make me pay for their rides.
Well, then maybe you should get your license earlier, Aiden.
Made you pay for your rides like once.
It was like
maybe 10 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Another good way to know if you've forgiven someone is if, like, you don't talk about them badly with that action. Like, you don't gossip about the bad thing they did to you, because then you still have, like, that annoyance and pain, and you haven't fully forgiven them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they may have stabbed me, but I mean, it's
all good, bro.
Oh, that Aiden guy? Oh, he stabbed me once, but
he's chill though. He's awesome.
All right, so just to recap, there's, like, 4 things you gotta, like, that you can kind of look at and see if you've forgiven someone. Is trust God to deal with the people who have hurt you badly. So that goes to, like, the whole thing, like, God's the ultimate judge. Like, he'll worry about their consequences. You don't have to worry about that. You just have to forgive them. And then clearly communicate your pain to the person you have hurt so they know they were hurt. And then pray for them. Stop talking negatively about them, like, wanting the best for them. And then a good example Kyle brought up today was when Jesus was on the cross, he forgave the people that whipped him, that, like, made fun of him, that, like, stripped him, that, like, did all these terrible, terrible things you can do to a human being. And he was like, God, they do not know what they do. Please forgive them. Yeah. That's, like, the ultimate, like,
forgiveness.
I think Tupac said it well. He was like, I don't, like, just because we're friends doesn't, or not friends anymore doesn't, like, mean we're enemies.
Yeah.
How does it go? He says, I still want you to eat, just not at my table.
Nice. So that's a good.
Actually, that's right.
Shout out Tupac. We miss you.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of also, everything connects. Like, Jesus dying on the cross, he forgave the people who were doing it directly to him, and he forgave all of our sins that we are going to do. So it's like the ultimate all sins on Jesus. Yeah. That kind of, like, wraps that part up. And now the third form of forgiveness is the hardest one, which is forgiving yourself. And not just forgiving yourself and being like, oh, it was fine what I did, but forgiving yourself for what you've done, like, through God's forgiveness for you. Because you still got to, like, understand, like, the thing you did was wrong, but that God's forgiveness can cover that. So that's, like, the hardest thing to do is, like, you know, you've done something bad. And then,
could,
like,
you give an example
of, like, forgiving yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say I don't know how extreme we want to go.
Well, I think Kyle, like, said it pretty well with, like, the difference between shame and guilt.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, guilt really means, like, I did something bad and you know you did it wrong, and then shame is...
But you don't have to necessarily feel bad about it. Like, I thought about it, you know, like serial killers, when they kill people, they don't feel bad about it, but they obviously still did bad things. They're still guilty of what they did. And then the shame aspect comes into it, where you feel bad for what you did.
You know you're a bad person.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll go back to the example you wanted. Let's say,
If you were to forgive yourself, would you like acknowledge your shame and be like,
I mean, it's like that
it
prayer
was
of like,
bad?
God, I know I did this wrong. I know I'm a sinful person. I'm broken. Please forgive me. And like, I know you're the only thing that can make this right and make me pure in your eyes again. Because that's the amazing thing about God's forgiveness is when you sin, God forgives it, and it's pretty much like acting like it never happened. That's how much he forgives it. And like how like you want to tell the example of like the knife kind of thing. Like so there's like, let's say Lewis is walking. Do you want to tell it?
Yeah, sure. So say Lewis is walking, right? And I'm walking behind him. It's dark. And I just stab him in the back.
You try to.
Or I try to.
I'd be like, hey, bro,
And then
don't
and
worry,
then-
I forgive you.
And then Lewis has the force, and he's just like, whoosha, and he just dodges it.
I'm like, bro, you just tried to stab me, but I forgive you.
But I forgive you. And then he would keep walking without, like, looking over his shoulder and constantly trying to, like, see if I'm trying to stab him again.
Yeah, because that's full forgiveness.
Yeah. You
Then
like
you
totally
don't-
forget. Like you don't forget what happened, but you fully forgive it.
Forgive, but never
Yeah.
forget is kind of what I live by.
Forgive and then like trust them. You know?
Never forget, bro. I forgive you guys. No,
I mean, that applies to like Christianity. Like you always know
Jonah, I forgive you.
without Jesus, you are a broken person. You can't ever forget that. The only way through Jesus is through his forgiveness, through God's forgiveness. So, yeah, that's like the last one, forgiving yourself. I don't know, does anyone have any examples of forgiving themselves? I mean, I guess every day we have things we have to forgive ourselves for, like,
I think if I don't really have any like really like personal strong ones myself.
I think we all do. We just don't really
Yeah, we
realize
just
it.
don't really remember it or realize it. But if you think about, you know what? I'll just bring Matthew into this again. Matthew was youth pastor. Matthew was like a really big drug addict, and like before he became a youth pastor, he's a really cool guy. We might have to have him on the podcast sometime. So yeah, he wasn't a great person, and I don't really want to speak on. I didn't know him then, but he acknowledged just that he was like that he would steal from people and whatnot. But I think that's with like a lot of criminals that come to Jesus. Like they realize what they did was really bad. They'll probably never be able to ask forgiveness from some people that they really hurt.
I mean, it's like that unlimited debt we
Yeah.
like read in the story. Like,
They're
there's
not
so
like-
much debt. There's no way you can repay it through
Yeah,
works or like good things you can do.
And so they have to be like, that was my old self. I'm a new creation through God. The old has been washed away, the new has come. And
Yeah, where does it say that again?
I forgive myself.
In the Bible, where does it say that?
I mean,
again?
there's
It says
multiple
those exact
verses that
words.
refers to that, but I'm not sure which one.
Yeah,
It's like I am a new creation.
can't put me on the spot like that, Aiden.
Kyle would know.
Kyle would know.
Kyle would know.
So would Matthew probably. Do we want to move on to the next topic,
Yeah,
or
I
does
think
anyone?
I think we
else?
answered that pretty good. Unless anyone has anything else they want to speak on.
I mean, I have like a couple of examples of forgiveness.
Yeah, shoot.
There was an ex-girlfriend who I'm pretty sure I've already told the story, but it was like in the beginning of the summer, so I was still pretty upset about it. I had this ex-girlfriend who I was interested in dating again, and all of a sudden she like started going out with this other dude, and I was like, damn, that sucks. But there was a point where I had to come to terms with it because we're still like really close as friends, and I didn't want to have to put that at risk again. So, I still haven't. Thanks, Lewis. I still haven't.
I got you.
I still haven't actually told her that I forgive her, but I mean, I still want her to know, you know.
Yeah, I guess just forgive people as soon as you can, because if you wait long, it's just like awkward. Like you walk up, and you're like, "Oh, you know that thing you did to me like 5 years ago?
Yeah,
I
I
forgive you for
by the
that." Although that's a good way to bring like God into the conversation as well, in a way. But
Yeah, and I have another friend who I won't name that like doesn't really have healthy habits. I actually have several friends, you know, at the way that our school is. There's a lot of people at our school that don't have the healthiest habits, but all I can do is just pray for them, know that God is trying to like, and I just want them to know that God's speaking to them. And so I forgive them.
can you
for the stuff that they
elaborate
do.
on like God speaking to them?
Like I pray that they know that God's in their life, you know?
Or like, yeah, you want
So
them to know
they-
that God wants them to be like truly in His family and
Yeah, like
accept Him.
Like new creations.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice.
Sweet.
Nice.
Well, I think we head over to Q&A. First question we have is from Zuba Gaming. Is there a height requirement or any requirement to get to heaven other than being
It's
saved?
not a theme park ride.
I'll pull out some Bible verses here from.
I think we can laugh at this question, but he says height requirement, but then also he goes into any other requirements, which is probably the more serious part of the question. So obviously there's not any physical attributes that you have to have. You don't have to have a certain nose shape or
He who is shorter, like you were saying, he who is shorter than
He who
Yoda,
is shorter than
shan't enter
Yoda
the
shall
gates of
never
heaven.
enter the kingdom of heaven. Sorry, Matthew. No,
This is our homie Matthew. No,
yeah, it's not Pastor Matthew. Pastor
Oh, no.
Matthew would absolutely obliterate me in any physical sport or
This is a
anything.
weird question. How big is Matthew?
he's Aquaman.
He's Aquaman. Jason
literally?
Momoa,
Like,
Like he's got long hair?
yeah. Jason Momoa, tattoos. This guy will rock your world, bro.
Does he wear like a little...
No, he doesn't wear a little fish hook. No, but yeah,
Do you have a Maui staff?
I
tried
wish.
it, dude.
He doesn't have. You don't have to have any physical attributes. I think that's where the height one comes in. But it says requirements, like in general. You don't have to have any good works besides accepting Jesus and I
Having
guess
faith. In
having
what
faith.
you're
And
saved
as we
by.
were just talking about, having forgiveness. He won't like forgive you if you don't forgive others. So I don't know if like you can't get into heaven if you don't forgive, but it's definitely a
That brings
huge-
up the whole conversation of like, faith is not by works. You need faith to get into heaven, right? But faith produces fruit. If you truly have faith in God, it produces results. They're not works. They're just like, if you know something's real, you automatically do those things and react in certain ways that prove that you actually believe that.
Yeah.
And then like the way to answer that, like the height question and all that is like Romans 8:14 says, for those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. So if you have the Spirit within you, then you're good.
If you're Yoda's height and you have the Spirit,
Sorry, buddy.
you're good.
Even
bro.
Yoda has the Force.
And if you're shorter than Yoda, then I really don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Do we have any other verses on that?
We do. Romans 5:18. I'm not going to read it, but you guys can go look at that since we're kind of running on time. So also 1 John 5:13 talks about eternal life and stuff like that if you guys want to go read on that. Next question. John, you want to read this one?
Thanks for the question, by the way. Zumba Gaming,
Zuba.
Mabi, from Noah Weinstein. Have you all created a podcast on Spotify or podcast app for iPhone? I would love to listen to y'all when I go to the gym. Congrats
We
on
do
hitting the
have
gym,
a
bro, but
Spotify.
maybe you want to go back to school, bro. This is not only YouTube.
Chill.
No,
Hey, bro, get those games.
Link in
though.
description everywhere you can listen to
Spotify.
yeah.
it. We're out there.
Audible.
But keep getting those
We're on
games.
Audible too.
Keep getting those gains, and yes, we're on literally every
Can I read the next one?
platform.
Yeah.
This one's from Pineapples and Proverbs.
Again,
Best
Again.
username award.
Yep. Can y'all have Pam Fisher on the episode? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
May we? That
It's hard to get her on. She's
the only thing I'm scared about is I don't know exactly how if she knows exactly how the whole thing works. So
Yeah, I don't think
it'll
She
be,
doesn't
it'll-
have to know, or she sits down and talks.
Yeah, she sits
That's all
down
she
and
gotta
talks.
do.
I'm
I mean,
excited.
It would be such an
Okay.
honor, but she also
Dibs on being on that episode.
Pineapples and Proverbs also said she seems awesome. My
She
question
is.
this week is, what are some verses that you can learn on and study
Lean
when
on.
life is not going as planned and you feel like the walls are caving in? For all those out there who feel helpless. Smiley face.
Do you want to start answering that question? Because
Ooh.
when you went through that stage of
Yeah.
your life,
I had a phase.
Mommy,
I think we all did.
Yeah, we all had a little phase.
I'm medicated for my depression now because I learned through God how to treat myself. But
You're off medication. You're still on it.
no, I'm still on
We
it.
can cut
Okay.
this part out, but like, do you think it's like, is it necessary for you to be happy to have that medication?
That's a complicated answer. I like to answer it though, because like, it was only after I came to God with my depression and gave it to Him that I was given
Relieved of it?
that I was like given medication, and so
So do you think it's almost like the analogy where, like, you know, like the house is flooding and the guy keeps going up a story, and you think that maybe like the medication is like an escape route, like the Jeep or the helicopter or whatever?
I think what we're talking about here is that like God doesn't only heal people supernaturally, but through people and through situations and through like things we have today, like medicine, that can help people as well.
Well, the thing is, just because I'm on medication doesn't mean I'm not depressed, you know?
Yeah.
And so it goes both ways. When I'm not on medication doesn't mean I'm not happy. It was just, it's like a realization that you're happy most of the time and you just don't realize it.
So does it just like help the scales from just dramatically shifting?
Yeah, like
So it's just like
without
it's like an equalizer.
yeah, it's an equalizer because without meds, it's like mood swings, you know.
Yeah.
But right now, it's like I can be stable. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I couldn't.
We just synchronized there. That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. My favorite verse, because of this question, my favorite verse is Proverbs 17:22. It was like, sorry, I gotta find it.
While he's finding his verse, I think a very great medicine for depression and stuff like that, and like when you need a crutch to lean on, is just people that you love. Surround yourself with those people. Laugh. I don't know where it says in the Bible, but it says laughter is the best medicine, and I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. And if you're
people who just make you happy in
Jesus is
general.
the best medicine.
yeah, and if like pineapples and Proverbs, if you're here asking this question, it shows that you're like on fire for him, right? And so if you, I don't mean to make it sound simple, because when I was like very depressed, people would just be like, "Oh, be happy."
Just be happy, bro.
But I don't mean to make it sound so simple, but it really involves surrounding yourself with people, even if you're not like best friends, just surrounding yourself with people that are also on fire, because you get really close with them.
Yeah, not just surrounding yourself with other people, but talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just bury it all inside, because that's not what helps. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, I don't know if I speak for any of these, but my DMs are open at Jonah Tornar _ So if you want to drop a follow on Instagram while you're there, that's great.
No, there's the only there's actually this one dude who's willing to listen. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name's Jesus, I think it is. No, Jesus, that's what it is.
Oh, I get it. Nice.
Nice.
I did find my verse though.
Been a while.
So a happy heart is good medicine, but low spirits sap one's strength. And that's only in one reading. Like another version says that like a broken spirit drieth the bones. And so it really comes down to God showing you through prayer that you're not as sad as you think, or at least that you're happier than you think.
Yeah. And by the way, that was a joke. You don't have to follow me on Instagram to DM
The
me.
wall's caving in. It's really an illusion. Because things only cave in when you are not forgiven in the eyes of God. And you're like,
Things only cave in when you're not holding them back.
yeah.
So if you hold them back through scripture and you don't see, if you're sad and you just listen to sad music, that's just like curling up in a ball while everything crushes down around you.
Uh-huh.
And that's just like deepening yourself in that again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense. But
And then reading the Bible anywhere, like any book of the Bible, while you feel depressed would be like putting on a chest plate of God, like the armor of God, you know?
Nice.
That's the
Facts.
analogy that I like.
Luke, do you
to
have a
make.
verse you would like to read?
Yeah, so mine's Isaiah. This is my favorite verse, and it applies to what her question is Isaiah 41, 28 through 31. Do you know, have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall.
But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And I think that's Isaiah 40:31. Sorry.
That is Luke's favorite verse, and I know that because it's been his verse for the longest time ever.
Yeah.
Lewis, did you have anything? Or
I was looking for one. I'll go after you. Because I have one. I'm just trying
And
to find it.
I see at the end of the thing you said, at the end of the question you said, for all those out there who feel helpless, you aren't helpless. It's actually a common
They
misconception.
feel helpless.
I'm actually, it's a good point. You feel helpless, but you should know that you aren't, because the God of the universe took the effort to create you individually, yet in his image.
And give you free will and then send his son down to die for you and forgive you. So there's nothing to worry about
You're all good.
except for your
Just
soul.
just be happy.
The souls of those around you.
yeah. Lewis, did you find it?
No.
Do you want to just kind of rephrase or?
Sure. So, sorry, that was a little aggressive. I kind of just woke up. So my favorite verse, and I guess it kind of ties into, it's not even a verse, it's like a whole story, but it kind of ties into what we're talking about. It's, and you guys probably know this, but my favorite verse in the Bible and how it sums up the Bible for me is when it's previous to when Peter denies Jesus 3 times, and then after the rooster crows, and then he gets resurrected, and then it's when he takes Peter out on a walk next to the charcoal fires and says that he forgives him, although he denied him 3 times and he knew that he would.
First, he poses the question is, Peter, do you love me? And he
Yeah.
makes him answer that 3 times. So for
So
every
it's
3
like-
times he denied him, he also had to
Yeah.
confirm that he loved him 3 times.
Yeah. But no, I just thought that was really cool,
Yeah, it's sweet.
and that's been my favorite for a little while. Like,
Ties back into the forgiveness aspect of
so
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also
Yeah, like there's nothing to be worried about if you're forgiven.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For real.
like the Hammurabi's code, eye for an eye. Because he had to make sure that he loved him 3 times for every time that he denied him.
Mm-hmm.
Eye
That
for an
goes to
eye
show
makes the
that-
whole world go blind.
Yeah.
Have you seen the meme where it's like Hammurabi when someone gives him an eyeball and he just like
What?
stupid stuff.
All right, I guess
All right, we're going to answer one more question, and we're going to save the rest for next episode. There's some really good questions in here, but they're going to take too long to answer. So we got one question from Priscilla. She's also a homie from Switzerland. So got a few Swiss fans out here.
She doesn't believe I'm 16.
Yeah, he's 16.
I'm a youngin'.
Aiden, we need a confirmation.
All right, deuces.
What do
Bye,
you mean?
Lewis.
gonna go.
Bye, Lewis.
You're leaving?
Bye, Lewis. Bye, Lewis.
Bro, we have like 15 minutes left.
He has to go home.
I gotta go home. Shower.
Peace, guys.
Bye, Lewis.
Well,
Thanks for being on.
Okay, well, Lewis is going to work. Don't forget your coffee.
I won't.
Anyways, her question. John, do you want to read her question?
Could you guys talk about overeating and fast food and mukbangs and how the Bible says not to overeat or something?
Or something.
So, yeah,
Um,
she's talking about, what's the correct word for this?
Gluttony.
Let's pull up some Bible verses here.
I was actually
Can
I'm gonna make this short,
mic
but
out?
I was actually having a conversation with my mom about like the difference between the 10 Commandments and the 7 deadly sins. And I said that I prefer the 7 deadly sins because it kind of like covers everything that's in the 10 Commandments.
I think
like
they
sums
work
it
So
up
you
together.
shorten 10 commands down to 7, and they still cover each other?
Yeah, because
I think they work hand in hand.
yeah, I mean that's the point.
You really
'cause-
only do 2 commandments to follow all of them, which is love
The
God, love
first
others.
2.
I say this every time, but yeah. Was that it?
Well, no, I mean, because like for example, you could be like covet not thy neighbor's wife and covet not thy neighbor's possessions. That could go into like envy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That may be what someone else has.
That makes sense.
Alright.
But back to the gluttony thing.
Proverbs 23:20 says, "Do not join those who drink much wine or gorge themselves on meat, for drunkards and gluttons become poor, and the drowsiness clothes them in rags." Okay, that's one verse.
Yeah, and so I think what he really means with like the gluttony and overeating, is not necessarily if you're just fat and you have like eating disorders or something. But I brought this up earlier in our Bible study, but when the Romans, what they would do is they would have these massive feasts, and they would like lay down and stuff on like their like comfortable chairs, and they would eat, and then they would go throw up the food, the delicious food that they just ate. They would go vomit it all up, and then they would eat again to just fill themselves again. And that is, in my opinion, gorging yourself. That is just eating as much as humanly possible for no reason other than food is good. So,
Yeah, so this all ties back into we can either feed the spirit or feed the flesh. And like literally every sin that you do and you act upon that sin, you fall into that sin, it's feeding the flesh, right? You're feeding the flesh and not the spirit. When you're feeding the spirit, you only do things that are godly and that God would, I guess, approve of or that are good. And when you can't control like things like eating or control things like when you're speaking or what things you're saying, like this all falls in the same category. When you can't control those simple things, I'm not saying they're simple, but like those simpler things, you're not going to be able to control your mind to think of certain things or like to honor God in those ways. So like it's just kind of that thing of like you got to learn how to control the smaller things before you can even have the strength to control the bigger things in a way as well.
mental fortitude,
Yeah. So I guess just feed your spirit as
And
much
not
as you
your
can
flesh.
and not your flesh.
Some minutes.
There's no name on this one, but I just wanted to answer this because
Oh, this is from the same girl.
Oh, okay. So, what's the school system like where you live, and how do you guys organize your time to make time for God? Because here in Switzerland, school begins at like 7 a.m. and ends at 5. Wow.
They also have like I don't know, it's like
A
2
lunch
hours
break.
lunch break where they get to go back home to their house, eat lunch, and then they go back
So
to
they
school.
hike up to their cabin. And
Yeah, pretty much.
Go milk the cow and walk back.
It depends how old you are and what grade you're in. Okay, that kind of makes sense. And you have tons of homework and exams. First of all, I'm gonna start praying for you and your school system. I had no idea that's what it's like there. But for us in Aspen, these guys wouldn't know, but that's why I wanted to answer this question. It's because, so we have, actually, our school really changes their schedule every year, especially since COVID hit. They're really still trying to figure things out and whether we should learn online or not, you know? That's like the big question. But right now we're learning in person, and our schedule is 8:45 to 3:45. So I have a free period, first period, so that's like a good time for me to do homework. And then if I don't have homework, I'll get in a little private space and like journal, because God forbid, like someone at the school sees me writing about Jesus.
Sees you with a Bible.
Yeah, right. It's the simpler stuff that we get ridiculed for nowadays. But I also don't do any extracurriculars. So, when I get home, it's just like homework first and then anything else.
I don't think she's like exactly asking for your schedule. I think she's asking how you
How I fit God
fit
into it.
Jesus into your day.
Well, I think that's our answer to this question is like,
Yeah.
you don't have school and then Jesus. You have Jesus all day. School is just underneath that where you also want to incorporate Jesus in everything in your life. So
It's making priorities, really. There's a saying, or I don't know if it's a saying really, but there's a difference between having time for someone and making time for
yep.
someone. And that's really important in like relationships and stuff too. If you really, really want it that badly, you will make time for it. There are
But
definitely
realistically-
things that you can cut out in your day. Like I know myself personally, I could cut down on so many stupid, pointless things I do
Me
and
too.
make room for Jesus, like make more time for
yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
for all of us.
But-
And like, I think too, like it's not, you have school and then you can, time for Jesus doesn't mean you're sitting in your closet and reading the Bible. Living for Jesus and believing in Jesus is going out to everyone you know, being a good example of what Jesus is in your life, and being an example so people can see like, oh, look, she's different. Whether you're happy, you're super kind, you're forgiving, they'll see that. They'll ask you questions about that, or they'll see you're different and ask you questions on that. And it might take a while. You got to just keep acting on it, but people will start like questioning why you're that way, and then you tell them why. And that's a big part of like being Christ followers, like
Yeah.
incorporating Jesus not only in your personal life, but also showing other people who he is and what he's done for you.
Yeah, the social aspect. But circling it back to school, the power is knowing that Jesus is at school with you. It sounds kind of weird, but
Yeah.
it's like knowing that he goes with you to every class and he gives you the power and the knowledge to answer whatever question the teacher asks, for example. And then for me, since I'm taking a lot of easy classes right now, Jesus really comes into like the social aspect that you were just talking about, where I have all these interactions with teachers and friends and like some kids I don't even know that just know me for some reason.
Well, I mean, look at the impact we had. Like, it wasn't in the best way it could have happened, but people figured out who some of us really are and then questioned us to the point where, like, some of us had to go to the principal's office, had meetings with other students and talk about
views
it.
Views are views.
Yeah. But, like, that like, incorporated Jesus into school, which is cool.
So when it comes to, like, a 7 to 5 schedule, it's really about knowing Jesus is at school with you and having him in the back of your mind all day, or even in the front of your mind, if that makes sense. Just
And it's not like you can't multitask, right? Like, like if you're walking, just pray. Like, and that you can do whatever whenever you need, or instead of listening to the stupid song that I listen to every single day, sometimes we'll be like, you know what, I'm going on my Jesus playlist.
exactly.
And I'll play a good song, have a little worship sesh.
Yeah, it's not like you have to like go home and soak instantly after school. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to lay down and pray for 15 minutes.
There's definitely like that hour or two out of your day where you can sit down, read the Bible, really study it, and like really just devote that whole hour to God. But if you're doing something else, you can just pray and stuff too.
So
Yeah.
I guess the
So-
lesson is, don't leave Jesus at home. Bring him with you to school.
Yeah.
He's like your phone. Don't forget him.
I love how we compared
that's
Jesus to
actually
Snapchat into the phone.
No, that's actually a really good point. Like every time you pull out your phone, think of Jesus and like just
should
put
I be
Yeah,
praying
show me your
or
screensaver.
going in this stupid
your
TikTok?
screensaver is Jesus.
Jesus
They'll
always
automatically
watching.
make you think of Jesus.
Yeah.
So.
Show the camera.
Do make it like
Show the camera.
it's just Jesus
Right there.
like
He's always there. He's always watching.
All the cameras.
watching.
And
I guess-
that's really easy to forget.
Relate
honestly.
Jesus to something you do very often so that every time you do that thing you think, "Oh, hey, maybe I should pray."
And always ask yourself, what would Jesus do? And with that, go follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. No, we don't have Facebook. We also have a new like kind of series where we take clips of the podcast and shorten them down into shorts. So it's like one question or like one topic, and it's just like a shorter video. So go watch those if you have any more
And we have
specific
new
questions.
merch designed
I
by
was
Matthew.
literally about to say that. Matthew made new merch.
We do?
Yeah.
Is it on the site?
I
Yeah.
think so. And if you don't like Luke's style of hat, please go check out the new hat.
We have trucker hats and baseball hats.
Which
All right, it's not on the website, but we'll make sure those are up there before.
okay,
it's aired.
perfect.
Okay, by
No,
the
it's
time
right there.
The hat?
Yeah,
That's the only new thing he's made?
well, that's like
that's the only thing I care about.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, Matthew made a cool hat. If you don't like Luke's,
it has the triangle and the
hippie
fire
ski
on
hat.
this front, and then on the side it has the little fish.
It's pretty cool.
Nice.
You should go check it out. And we're selling these as cheap as possible. We're not trying to make profit here. Just
Well, we kind of are.
wear our merch, please.
That beat.